So today we're going to talk about the structure of flowering plants. So remember, we're talking about an angiosperm. And so angiosperms are going to be our flowering plants. They are the most complex of evolutionary origins. So this is a beautiful little flower structure we have up here. This is what we call a perfect plant. Perfect or complete means that it has everything we're looking for, male and female. And then we also have incomplete, which means it's or imperfect, which means it only has a male or female reproductive organ. So let's talk about the structures of our flowering plants. So one, we're going to have a male and female reproductive structure. This is a perfect flowering plant or a complete. This has both the male and female reproductive organs. This is what we know as the anther and stamen, or the man's house, or angiosperm. They have one or two whorls on the sepals, and they're made up of filaments or stalks. They'll have an anther that produces a pollen for it. Remember, our pollen is our male reproductive. Then we have the gymnosperm. This is our woman's house. This is made up of our style, stamen, and filament. Style, stamen, and then it has our ovary and ovum in there. And so this is going to be our female reproductive organ and our male reproductive organ. The female reproductive organ will have our egg hid within the ovary or ovum. These are the individual ovums or eggs. You can see it better here on these. And then the ovary contains all of the eggs. These were what is going to develop into our fruit and also into our seeds. From there, we have a few other portions. We will have our sepals here. These are the leaves that are directly underneath of the flowers. And then we have our petals here, our corolla. So from these petals are to attract our pollinators, and our sepals are to give support to the flowers so that they have some structural support to it. Our male reproductive organ, again, is made up of the stamen, and then it has our anther. Our anther are going to produce our pollen. Our pollen is what is going to fertilize by going first through the stigma into the style and then fertilizing the ovum within the ovaries. And so those will develop into the fruit of the plant. Not all plants have male and female reproductive organs together. This plant does and can self-pollinate. It will also have a nectar production down at the bottom. Nectar is to attract pollinators to come in and to take those. From here, I want to go through this table really quick. And so we do have our sepals or collax. These are to protect the blood during development. Our colored petals, a corolla. These are to attract pollinators. Our stamen, which is the male reproductive organ, which is contained of our filament, which is the stalk, and our anther, which has the actual pollen in it. The pollen is the part that is producing the gamete. Remember, this is the gametophyte stage of this. Then we have our pistil, which is the female reproductive organ. It will have the stigma, which has a sticky surface to catch the pollen from the pollinators. The style, which is the neck, which the pollen will travel down. An ovary, which is a hollow vessel that contains the ovum. The ovum is actually what will get fertilized, and it's the female reproductive cycle. Remember, this goes through alteration of generation. So the complete plant is the sporophyte phase, and the pollen and the ovum are in the gametophyte phase. So they will pollinate to form a zygote. That zygote will develop into a seed. The seed will then be dispersed, and the plant cycle will start over again. Remember, angiosperms go through alteration of generations from the gametophyte phase, which is producing the pollen and the ovum, to the sporophyte phase, which is the adult plant.